Hey everyone, and welcome back to another podcast of the Serbian community Bezkod. In this episode, we have Alex from simpleclub, our long-term client, and he's going to be talking a lot more about how Webflow is integrated with their platform on the back end and how those two are working hand in hand each day as their kind of core marketing structure. So, Alex, can you introduce you and simpleclub as a company?
Yeah, nice to be here, by the way. So I'm Alex, one of the co-founders of simpleclub. And simpleclub is basically the most popular learning app in Germany for students. And we have 2 million users per month and became pretty big over the last few years. So we started back on YouTube and built the large educational channels there with 3 million followers, 500 million video views. And then we moved everything to education tech and developed our own platform. And there also our website obviously was an important factor. And I think that's also the reason why we talk now.
Yeah, nice. So, when deciding to kickstart the website, did you consider any other platforms or was the Webflow first choice and kind of why was it?
Yeah, so in the beginning we had another platform and we tried to develop it ourselves a bit, but then we soon realized this is not really efficient as we have a marketing team who shouldn't have a lot of development resources in the end. And then soon we came up with Webflow. So to find the Webflow platform per se wasn't really the biggest challenge. It was pretty obvious. But then the biggest challenge was actually to find a partner who was able to make the connection between us and the platform itself. And then we first had a lot of attempts with other Webflow developers, also single people, freelancers, but in the end it didn't really work out because we always were missing that one combined solution where you have people who understand the platform in itself, but also can develop the ground and base of everything. And then on top of it, have design resources and can really be a sparring partner for us. And this is the reason why we then obviously chose you, because you combine all of that. And I can really tell a lot of bad example story from the past and now how it works better. But I think this will be also part of the conversation.
Yeah, of course. And I don't want this conversation to turn into a testimonial for Flow Ninja, but let's say hopefully for a little bit more about the discussion for Webflow. So how much time did you actually save in the end for your dev team and for your team in general by, let's say, choosing a development agency for Webflow and then not having all of that in-house in the end?
Yeah, so if we would have had a team in-house for Webflow, I think we would have had 1, 2, or even 3 full-time employees only for that. And as we are a tech startup, but our tech focuses on the app itself and not on the marketing sites, we decided to not do this. And for us, it saved a lot of money. As you can imagine, 2, 3 full-time employees, that's a lot of money if you can save on that, and rather invest those resources in our actual app and our tech there. So for us, in the end, it was saving a lot of money, a lot of time, and also giving us the opportunity to really focus on what we are really good at in the end, which is our own app.
Yeah, and also on the other side, I guess you have a lot more resources to focus on the marketing side, just because I know how good the wireframes and the thoughts for every single page come from your team, just because that's your only job is just thinking the best marketing strategy and then we're in charge of executing that in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so and how important was it? Because Webflow is technically, I would say, a development, a custom development platform, but visually, how important was it for you that we integrated all of the APIs for your platform and creating the checkout flow on Webflow in the end and making that a streamlined process?
Yeah, so for us, it's super important to define the intersection between what is happening on Webflow and what is happening on our side in the backend very, very clearly. Because where do we take ownership over the whole tech? And for us, one really important part was obviously the payment, because in the end, we are pretty complex startup already. So we have payment through Apple, through Android, and through the web. And to combine all that and to manage all that, it's super important that it's in-house and we have full control over that. But at the same time, we didn't want to create a very overloaded or bad-looking flow on the website as well. So the API was a great solution for us to really have full control of the payment backend side, while at the same time having an incredible experience for the user on the front end.
Yeah, and then users can actually flow to your platform and to the website back and forth really seamlessly. And we still have the kind of the flexibility of Webflow to change the checkout flow really easily. I mean, I know that we run a lot of kind of technically ads or whatever campaigns on the checkout flow, and we were able to change those in just a few clicks. Where probably if you had those in the platform, I'm not sure kind of how much time would that actually take.
Yeah, that's it. So it really, it's the combination of you don't really see as a user the difference between the backend and the front end, because it's really, as you said, it's super seamless. And in the end, we still have full control over the things we want to have control over. And on the other side, we really could outsource everything. We don't want to focus on ourselves because we are not as good at this there, and also we don't need to be. And that's I think the core thing. As a startup, you always need to really decide what is your focus, not only in the business model, but also in the resources you invest in. And the less focus you need on other things rather than your home and bring core business, the better. And this is the solution for it, basically.
Yeah. So I'm gonna comparing the platform to Webflow, how fast can you make changes to the platform? Let's say when you make copy changes on the platform, or just kind of some small tweaks versus Webflow in the end.
Yeah. So if we would have developed the website ourselves, it would have always been the struggle of, okay, we need a briefing, we need to have a little tribe of people who are responsible for the whole website. We change that, what impact does it have on other pages, and so on. And now we don't need to focus on that at all, because our marketing team can work in the editor themselves, and it's really convenient for them to only focus on copy and only focus on the look of things and not the setup behind it, and not to worry about fucking something up. I think that's the main reason, because marketing teams, as you know it, they are very proactive, they are very ambitious in goals, and very fast if they are good. And at the same time, they shouldn't worry about doing something wrong in the end, because the more freedom they have in experimenting, the more efficient also the whole process is, and the faster you get, better results. And for example, if I compare this with our app itself, that's a whole different story. So if we would change anything there, it's a really big project. We need to do a lot of things there. But on the website, it's super easy now, and that's really thanks to Webflow in the end.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you enough power. So like, as you said, you cannot fuck up anything, but it gives you kind of power on the other side, where you can still test a lot of new things and kind of create new pages in the CMS, etc. So
yeah, exactly. Especially if you have the ground setup worked out in a way that it's really scalable and replicable. I think this is the core thing. And this was one of the main problems we had at the beginning. We knew Webflow. We also tried it ourselves. And some things you get them, others you don't. But in the end, the more you work with it, the more you realize that you actually need somebody who understands how to build the ground setup. And as soon as you have that, it's incredible, because you can reuse so many things. If we develop new landing pages now, for example, the more templates we have, the more CMS work was done beforehand, the faster we have new landing pages, the faster we can develop and create better results. And therefore, I know this shouldn't be advertising only for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the combination. It's, to be honest, not only Webflow, you also need somebody who really knows how to build the ground setup. So the company, in this case us, can really leverage on that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like on our side, maybe looking at the classes and then the features, CMS is maybe a great example on that front, where not many people actually consider a features page a CMS page. But in the end, if it's set up in the right way, like, it can be created with a CMS, and you can add as many features as you want to. Same with testimonials, and then future on creating the component-based system in Webflow to reuse for your pages.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. How important was, and how much impact did the rebrand had like in September that we've done, and on your business, and also using Webflow in the end for that?
Yeah, to make it very clear, our website before was really shit. So I actually wonder how people ended up on the purchasing page and decided to buy with the page we had before, because from a trust level, it was near to zero. So obviously it was super important for us, but the great thing was we didn't only had a lot of lacking groundwork done in the CMS structure and also the whole Webflow structure beforehand, but we also didn't know how to accelerate the process of website building itself. Because before, for us, it was always, okay, huge new website, new rebranding. This is a project book of like 300 pages. We brief somebody on it, and then they develop for 6 weeks. And after that, we hopefully have a new website. And with this new process, it was way more efficient because we briefed you basically on our goals and what our basic CI is and is made of. And you took this completely over and developed the whole new website from scratch with ideas we couldn't even have had ourselves. And I think this is the core value of somebody who really understands not only how to convert briefings into a website, but also for somebody who thinks with you and thinks ahead. For example, we had some ideas on the pages we thought would be great, but in the end, there's somebody who is more experienced in developing sites. It showed that this would be completely stupid to do this like that.
Yeah.
And to have somebody like you telling us, hey, we have 4 or 5 examples of other companies we've worked with, and this could be a better solution for you as well, this was super valuable for us. And in the end, I think the website looked very different from what we actually briefed in the beginning, but that was a good thing because now it was way better. And in the end, this is also the effect in the numbers. We could increase our conversion rate, we could increase also the time people spend on the pages, and also the qualitative feedback of users was way better because before people didn't really get what we do and what we provide. And now with all the feature pages, with all the additional info pages, it was way more convenient for the user as well.
Yeah, and I feel like, and also to add to that, like it was also launching in stages that actually helped us a lot, like that you can actually do real-time marketing, because I feel like for many companies launching a website is a 2 quarters kind of project, and then what was important in Q1 is not important when you launch the website, and then you need to redo it again. Whereas right now we can actually do real-time marketing and just kind of reiterate month after month and just kind of have a continuous process.
True, I remember that we had this one launch in September last year, and we knew, okay, we needed new homepage and new product page for that, but the rest of the pages weren't as critical for the launch. So as you said, we did this in different stages, and that was super important for us because with those basic pages, which are the most important for the conversion, we could already do a lot of marketing and scale our marketing like crazy. To give you some numbers, before we had, I think, 3,000 euros ad spend per week, and really didn't scale this further. And now, right at the time when we did those 2 or 3 new website pages, we scaled it to 200 or almost 300K a month in ad spend. And without those pages, this wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, and then we have the reliability. Okay, it's a hard word for me to say of Webflow, just because we have the 99.9% uptime or whatever. And at any point you probably had to worry about kind of security breaches, Webflow being down or whatever. Like if you were on WordPress or any other hostings, you probably would have to worry about kind of a spike in the kind of traffic like that.
But yeah, for sure, especially in our business, I think a lot of other businesses who are also seasonal can relate. We have very high correlations between exam times and vacations in our usage, and also in our, obviously, website visitors. And if we have our back to school launch campaign in September, that's what we do every single year because it's like a big boom. We need to have a reliable platform who can scale with that. And the years before, we always had struggles doing that. Once we didn't have really struggles with the platform, but then we forgot to uplift the benchmark for the American Express credit card, so it blocked, and then we couldn't scale the platform. So this was obviously our fault. But also from a platform perspective, Webflow was really, really nice to have at that time because at launches, everything can go wrong, and if you have planned everything, still some things go wrong.
Yeah.
And don't want this to go wrong in the end.
Yeah, and it was also super useful because even if something small goes wrong, we can fix it pretty quickly. It's not like you need to do it through a sprint and then you're losing money and then walking a week before you can actually fix something on the platform in the end.
Sure, yeah. Also, actually, if you have a new website live, you have new learnings, or you realize that visitors behave differently from what you have expected before or something like that, and then you need to make changes. Even during a launch, and typically you really want to avoid change basic things and really heavy things during a launch time. But in some cases, it makes sense, And with Webflow and like basic setup we had, this was super incredible because we could just change anything and we didn't worry about really breaking the site.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you say is the most the feature you like the most currently, either on the website kind of visually or just kind of as a Webflow as a feature?
Yeah, so currently we are developing together the site about our like the EdTech and technology, and there visually I love that you can really make the whole site experience more dynamic and really make it way more haptic. So in the end, the user looks at the site, and for our technology side, it was really, really important to bring across also the feeling of technology, to make it look futuristic and also make it feel futuristic. And with Webflow, you can do this very easily with animations, with like things moving around and so on. So visually, I think that is incredible. And on the functional side, obviously the performance, to be honest, because in the past we had always like problems with the performance and issues with that. And now as we optimize a lot of things, do a lot of A/B testings in the app, but also on the website, we're planning to do them way more heavy than we are doing right now. One thing you don't want to worry about is performance of the site. And I think those two things combined is incredible, because where do you find this, to be honest? Like the possibility you have animations and things moving around, while at the same time having a high performance website, this is really unique.
Yeah, and I feel like this is like really important because like let's say in WordPress, you need to add plugins or whatever, use kind of third-party theming software in order to create a website, and that clogs up everything. Whereas in Webflow, everything is like you're doing a custom development job. Like you actually create the animation, you have the backend code for that in a really clean way. So like it can render in 90 plus on GTmetrix or whatever, so that users can be interacting pretty quickly. Yeah. But on that front, I mean, kind of, do you feel like Webflow is lacking something at the moment that you would like to see in the future?
I think so. It's hard to answer the question without being too like criticizing about a platform which is already the best out there, to be honest. Because to be honest, we are really, really happy with the results right now. But if I think about one thing, it's still a bit of a hassle to onboard new people to the platform in terms of how they could edit things themselves to a bigger extent than just changing the copy. I think those things where you could move the power of changing things more towards marketing teams, so they have a little bit more freedom to do things like changing layouts in the end a bit more and stuff like that. I think a bit more flexibility on that side would be incredible for the future. But to be honest, that's really very small fraction of what could be done.
Yeah, and I feel like kind of Webflow is working on that a little bit, just because they're going to be launching component-based kind of features in Webflow itself, so that you can have actual components, and then just kind of marketing team can actually create fully custom pages, not just the CMS ones, like without any hassle and not worry about breaking any items. So kind of fingers crossed in like the next 6 to 8 months or whatever, we're going to see something like that. But I completely agree. I mean, editing everything in the CMS or in the editor is super easy. But as soon as you let somebody in the designer, then it's easy, but it becomes a little bit scary because they can mess up something and have a little bit more power than expected.
Yeah, sure. And especially if you work with an agency and you know, okay, your customer just wasn't the designer, probably you're like, okay, that's a red flag. What happened? And I think if you find a solution where this is not a problem and everybody knows, okay, this is like the area of where what things can change and nobody really fucks up anything. I think this is something, but as you said, as Webflow is working on that, that's the next step.
Yeah. Nice. So what are your plans for the marketing website in the future? You said that you're planning to do a lot more A/B tests and whatever. So what are your plans in the next quarters?
Yeah, so one thing is that we want to do a revamp of the design again, because you had great ideas, we also have some ideas, and we need to get the whole brand to the next level. We also just raised Series A, so for us it's really important to get the whole company to the next level, and this includes the site. And on the performance side, for us, now is the time that we really want to invest way more in testing effectively and on scale, because we have very different audiences actually. We have students who are the end users, we have parents who are the customers, we have also journalists, we have other investors, we have a lot of like different target groups, and obviously you need to tackle them in a different way. And to find a way to do this automatically and way more data-driven, that's our goal. So this is on the general performance-driven side. And the other part is we didn't really invest in SEO in the past very much. And this has a reason, because as we became big for YouTube, that was our SEO channel. So we had like 15 million clicks a month, and a lot of those people converted to our website. So this was a huge organic traffic channel, and for us it was important to build SEO pages from scratch for Google. But now, as we see a huge potential to add this, we are now developing a system where content from our app is automatically exported to SEO optimized pages in Webflow. So every time we generate a new topic page in our learning app, automatically an SEO page is generated through that. And to do this on scale, and not only in Germany, but in other countries as well, and even use this as an entry or market entry strategy to other countries, this is something where we need a lot of resources in developing the structure for Webflow really, really nicely, so we can get a whole marketing team allocated on that topic and really kind of leverage the potential there.
Yeah, and I feel like kind of looking into the future, like those are gonna be pretty easy things to do. Looking at the SEO, Webflow has integrated SEO tools, like, and it's not like on other platforms you need to integrate plugins. So like we have full flexibility there. And then we also have the Webflow API. So like in a way, if we think of kind of creating an automatic connection between the app and Webflow to publish new CMS items automatically, we can do that with the Webflow API and publish live items. But in the end, it might be also smarter that the marketing team probably goes and kind of proofreads or maybe just kind of adjusts something to launch. But kind of that's going to be able to kind of be done on scale, and Webflow is also soon, hopefully by the end of the year, going to change the 10,000 CMS limit, so we can publish many different SEO pages and just gonna scale into the sky, I guess, with the SEO pages.
Road to 100K pages.
yeah, road to 100K CMS pages. That can be the goal for 2022, I guess.
The key result for 3 months.
Yeah, key result for the next 3 months. Let's show how Webflow is fast. Yeah, so I guess I think we have some students, from Germany watching this channel currently. So kind of, what would you say to them? Kind of, why should they use kind of simpleclub on their side, and kind of why is it so special?
So if you're a student from Germany here, nice to see you. So the main reason is basically we want to make learning better. So in the end, you have your school books, you go to school every single day, it's the same for years. We still learn like 100 years ago. And technology has disrupted every area of every industry in the end. It has disrupted entertainment and other industries, but in education, nothing has happened. And for us, it's super important to bring technology to education and to make learning better. And what I mean by that, because learning is a huge field, we focus on the knowledge transfer in the center of the education system. So if you need to understand something, whether it's protein biosynthesis or another topic, we want to be the best in delivering that explanation, always in this state-of-the-art format. So for us, it's not that we want to focus on, for example, learning videos right now, but we want to be always at the state-of-the-art medium of education. So for example, in the future, when we learn the metaverse, we want to be the provider who gives augmented reality or virtual reality education there. And we also do experiments with schools already in augmented reality because we see huge benefits to that. So to sum it up, if a student watches this, and if you want to understand things in a way better way than in the past, then you need to use simpleclub, because in the end, we provide everything you need for school.
Yeah, and I would say, and I wish I had simpleclub when I was in my school, just because I was that kid that waits 2 days before the test to start learning everything.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, and then on simpleclub, you're gonna know, kind of 1 week before that, it's gonna tell you there is no time to kind of pass the test with a timeline view and everything.
Exactly. Yeah, as I said, we have the learning plan feature, so that's a cool thing actually. We call it the magic learning plan. If you're a student, you write an exam next week in mathematics, you create a learning plan in the app, and it automatically tells you every single day what you need to learn. And in the end, we tell you how well you're prepared. So for example, you are 80% prepared, and then we show you the 20% you need to learn. So that's really nice.
That's gonna make you technically cheating all of the other students just because you have the easiest way to learn in the end.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of, do you have anything else to add kind of for the podcast, and where can people follow you in the end?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, really incredible questions, and I think it's super important to bring this to life and to bring also people the value of Webflow. But at the same time, as I said before, that is one learning from us. we knew Webflow and we had a person who was responsible for Webflow, but still the process didn't work really nicely. And that was because you need somebody who understands how to build the setup, and you need somebody who understands how to build an incredible design for Webflow in the end, which is aligned with your company goals. And you need to find somebody, and we found you obviously, who combines all of this together. Because what you want to do as a company is you want to brief those people on your goals and on what you want to communicate, and the rest can be handed over. And then an incredible site is created. And this is, I think, the real value of using Webflow combined with somebody who's professional with that. So this is something I wanted to add. That's really, Webflow alone is great, but it's a platform, you still need somebody who executes on it. And the second thing where people can find us, definitely LinkedIn. So just type in simpleclub or my name, and really happy to connect.
Yeah, I guess that's everything for the podcast. Thank you so much for being the guest, for sharing all the knowledge you have for the platform, for your experience and everything on that front. And I hope a lot of people can reach out and ask for some insights on the platform, or just start using the platform on that side.
Yeah, thank you as well. And great podcast and great luck for the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.